So this truck was made of a lot of spray foam. I mean, they must have went to Lowe's and just bought a couple gallons of it. The bed floor was made of it. The cab corners were made of it. Rockers, the floor, even the bottom of the fenders were all made of spray foam, fiberglass, and body filler, which was bad because the truck looked great when it came in. It was all this beautiful sunburst orange color. As a matter of fact, this is the only piece we have left of the original build now. So on these new panels, we have to say, you need to know that even though it's new, it doesn't fit very good. What we mean by that was this whole side right here came out roughly 1/4 of an inch, both sides almost the same amount. Comparing it to the bed that it had on it, it wasn't bowed nearly as bad. They do have a little natural bow, but not about 1/4 inch worth. So we went in and reworked this entire area, both sides to bring that in. Reworked the tailgate as well. And we did different hinges and stuff on that, so we had a lot of work to fit that together and just make it gap evenly. Even then, you can still see the body line on the top of the tailgate isn't as crisp as an original tailgate. We've done a lot of work to improve that, but it's not going to be perfect. The goal for this truck isn't perfect. It's going to be a really good driver, really good looking truck, but not perfect show quality truck. Huge difference between the two. But even with that said, the new cab required a lot of rework too. So the door and the cab didn't fit good together. So my wife has actually come in here, cut and fit all this all the way down, not only level, but gap and lines. This line here was actually 1/4 of an inch low when we started this project. And this one here was so soft and almost didn't exist. So she's had to go in and work all these panels to make them actually fit together. So just remember, new panel for any of these old vehicles is made in China or Taiwan. They may advertise that it's sold in the US, but they're not made in the US. So you can kind of expect that kind of quality. As a matter of fact, when you're looking at this here, we're up to the door on this truck, and now we're working on the front clip. Front clip has a lot of variables in it, a lot of moving panels, a lot of moving pieces, lots of adjustments. We've already had to trim the cowl down about 1/2 inch to get the fender to fit in where it should. We've had to rework the mount for it too underneath the cowl top here. And you can see here the line doesn't fit good. The fender sticks out way past the rocker. I can actually get my finger in there, and this is bolted in place. The hood, we're having a lot of difficulties with because the fenders don't fit. So we're having to try to line the fenders, line the car support, line the hood all at one time. So it's a lot of moving parts. And again, so it's kind of hard to justify to the customer the amount of time they're spending. This is the kind of thing they won't appreciate till it's painted and finished. And then they would have understood that this would have looked really bad in paint. So the thing to note with all these new panels, even though there's a lot of fitment issues, it's still better than trying to build all this stuff from scratch or refit patches, because where this was rotted out, yeah, we could have just patched in the bottom. With how much paint and filler was on this, we actually saved this customer money by buying a new bedside. And again, we did have to fit a lot, but now we can fit it how we want to fit it. So we can deal with the gaps. We can deal with the adjacency of the panels. We can make those lines match up exactly where we want them to. So we have the ability to kind of move those panels around and change all that stuff and not have a bunch of filler and stuff in our way, which is going to cause just things to not look good, not look even, not look fit right. All right, so for the drivetrain on this, you wanted something that would have a little bit of power, but something reliable, great highway speeds, something to move these big tires around with. So we're sticking a Blueprint 383 stroker in it. We didn't want to do an LS on this particular truck. He wanted to stick with injection, though, but he wanted more of a traditional look. So we have the Holley Sniper system on here, CVF Racing for the belt drive system. We have a Champion radiator, the Rally fans. We have a CVF power steering unit. We're running Hydro Boost on this from CPP. So we're running a lot of good, reliable components that will make this start, stop, and drive really well. Backing up the engine, we have a 700 R4 from TCI. We have the stock 205T case. We'll get that rebuilt later. Same with the axles. As a matter of fact, when we tear it down for powder coat, we'll get those rebuilt before we coat them and during coating. That way, when we reassemble the truck, we just get to glue everything back together, basically. Okay, so the chassis on this is stock. We've done nothing to modify it, nothing to change it. We've changed some mounting locations, and that's pretty much it. So it's a stock 72 K10 chassis for a long bed. We have updated with Borgeson steering unit. That we have the quick ratio steering box. We've actually used a rough country 4-inch lift on this as well, front and rear, to get that dialed in. Comes with new bushings. The frame will be powder coated. Axles will also be powder coated later on. Okay, the chassis rides on a set of Toyo tires that go around a set of hostile wheels. For the brakes, we used a company called Little Shop Manufacturing. They make this awesome 6-lug kit that allows us to use Willwood 6-piston calipers, both front and rear, and we're backing that up with a Willwood unit for the master cylinder, as well as a proportioning valve and hydro boost brakes to make it stop real good. All right, inside, we wanted to keep it classic, elegant, just what the truck was. We wanted to change, kind of the appearance, but didn't want to alter what it is. So we have an I-Did-It steering column. We have a sharp steering wheel assembly, which has a wood grain. And actually, when we do the side trim on this later, we're going to wood grain it to match this exact color on the steering wheel. We have retro sound manufacturing for the head unit. We have vintage air for the AC controls. We have Dakota Digital for the gauges, and these guys did a knockout job. We actually had them custom build these for us. So they took the basic layout and kind of did a custom layout for us. So we have a red back. We have different gauge appearance as far as not only lettering, but lighting as well. We can alter through all that stuff. So Dakota did a real good job for us on that. We used Low-Car for the pedal assemblies, both of them, for the gas and for the brake. Even for the parking brake assembly, which we had to custom build into the cab to make it actually fit the way we wanted it to fit. So sticking with a classy and elegant feel, this truck is going to be being a pearl white with the new Bronco Raptor green highlights. We're also going to run a brown leather interior in here. So we're trying to get an idea of what we'll have body color, or if we're going to match the interior color completely. We haven't decided on all that stuff quite yet. It's kind of what's fun on these is kind of as you go, the truck will change its mind, if you will. You'll see things, you'll think of things you want to do. Maybe it'll alter the build a little, not in its entirety. But again, in this case, we weren't supposed to be doing green and white. It was supposed to be white and green. So it's back and forth on that, but it's all fun of the process, I think. All right, for the tailgate, we decided to do some trick manufacturing, bear claw latch assemblies. We also get this pretty cool gas strut assembly, so she takes her sweet time, doesn't bang around. Even with the cables, she's solid and doesn't have all the clunk and stuff while you're driving. Factory, the straps on these were pretty noisy, so we wanted to quiet that up a little bit. Bed floor is going to stay pretty basic, pretty simple. We are going to line this. He is a construction worker, actually owns his own company, so we're going to make sure this is as durable as the rest of the truck is supposed to be as well. And that is why we like those latches. All right, another kind of trick thing we did on the back of this truck was our fuel filler. A lot of guys are doing this, but we didn't know where to put it, and we definitely didn't want it in the cab. And with how tall it is, it'd be a little uncomfortable trying to drop this just to get into the bed floor to fill the fuel tank. So we decided to add this from LS Manufacturing. So what we've done here is we've used all their components to custom fit them. That way we can use the LED lights from LMC truck. Then we started building our own fuel tank. Now, this is only our pattern. We're using this as mock-up. So we didn't want to waste aluminum because it's way more expensive than sheet metal is. So with sheet metal, we kind of outlined exactly how we want everything to fit. So you see we kind of marked our cross members. We marked our sending unit location. We marked where the fuel pump's going to go. And what's good about building your own tank is you can kind of plan out where everything's going to go, including the fuel routing, the wiring, and so on. So in this, we had the fuel pump here. It'd be the Holley retrofit unit. And the fuel lines will come straight out of the front. And when we run the vent, we can run that through a vapor lock vapor canister. And we even had the fuel filler figured out. And we started kind of mocking up what we want our fuel filler system to do. It's kind of rough and ugly, but at least it gives you an idea of what we want to do. So this will eventually trade out to some nice elbows. That way we have a nice, good, slow flowing contour. And we're even working on the breather for it too. That's what this TIG wire is here. It's kind of showing us the shape and where the bung will go for that. That way when you're filling this up, it's not throwing fuel back in your face. All right, so the next couple steps on this truck, now that we've got everything done to the front clip, is to get this front clip fit. So we're using CVF Racing for the hinges. We've got those pretty close to dialed in, but nothing else wants to cooperate with the sheet metal. Once we get the sheet metal dialed in, we'll refit everything under the hood, make sure we don't have anything left over, any holes to make, includes the vintage air, the Holley Sniper unit. Any wiring we'll kind of pre-route just to get a rough idea of where all that stuff goes. Again, because there's nothing worse than drilling a hole in finished paint. I'd rather drill that stuff now during fabrication. Once we're done and all the panels line up, we are going to run all the trim on here. So the true two-tone split trim. The bottom will do the wood grain to match the steering wheel. And then once we have all of that fit metal fab, we'll send it over to the body shop, which honestly isn't too far out once this front clip gets dealt with. All right, we got a lot more coming on this truck here soon, so follow along on Facebook, Instagram, hit subscribe on YouTube channel, give us a follow. Thanks. Hey, we timed that right for a change. No buzzer. Cool.